afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all our loyal listeners and our new listeners, our young listeners, our old listeners, and our listener period. You're listening to Guess Who's Coming to Kansas City. My name is MC Richardson. I'm your moderator, I'm your host, and I just want to get this started that in our remembrance type deal is that we did lose the person who was the United Minority Media Association first advisory board member, Mr. Charles B. Wheeler. He was a mayor that wore two hats. We lost him at the age of 96, and then one of our class members, Dr. Lee Richardson, the one that could get all the bones in the right place, a chiropractor. We just lost his wife, Gladys, at the age of 81, and all this will be probably reprinted in the obituary column of the Kansas City Call in the Kansas City Star. So getting along with what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about segregation, going to integration, and is it still integration or is it still segregation? But dating back in the days of the RT codes down on 19th and Tracy, we used to have a place after we used to have the entertainers come there and do a little entertainment for the students. We had a place called the Candy Kitchen. And what that was, you could go down there and get a hot dog for 10 cents, and for a penny more please, you got some chili. So this young man that's on there, we got his son on there, who is the deputy superintendent of the Kansas City, Missouri School District. We got a lot of information here, a lot of good information, and we just want to make our people who will be, they can see us on YouTube, Facebook, Apple, the two iPhones, and also we're talking about 5 podcasters in different parts of the country. So before we get the son on, the deputy superintendent, what are the countries, Dr. Scott?
I'm sorry?
What are the 5 countries that we will be on this?
Well, we've been in England, we've been down in Brazil, we've been in Germany, Russia, and I believe, let's see here, what was it? Argentina, I think.
There's so many he can't remember.
That's right.
On the same token, he's going to be St. Nick. That's why we'll get these 2 shows in, and we'll be playing other shows while he's there passing out candy. But we got to make sure our chimneys are clean enough so he'll come down with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's
but
right.
Getting on with today's show, we're going to step back in time with Mr. Lyles Davis, that we both went to RT Cole doing segregation. And then they're talking about integration. I don't know if it's still integration as of yet. And also we'll get into what's taking place now. The school that we spoke about, they're trying to replace is Lincoln. No, we're not going to replace Lincoln. We're talking about Central High School. And we'll go in there first. Mr. Lyles Davis is a person who is a real estate broker, and he can practice not only in Kansas City, but also in St. Louis. So, Mr. Lyles Davis will get in. As soon as your son get on the phone, we'll have a 4-way conversation.
Well, you see, his son's not available yet, so we'll keep on trying to call him.
Okay. Well, we'll go with his dad now.
Lyles Davis?
Oh, yeah. I'm here. Hey, MC, thanks for having me on. You and my good friend, Mr. Alvin Brooks. I appreciate both of you inviting me for this momentous occasion. I hope that we can share some information that will help clarify some of the problems that we're having here in Kansas City relative to the Kansas City, Missouri School District, as well as other issues that we're faced right now. Thanks for having me.
Well, give people a little background of your background, what you've been doing, what you've been involved in. You've been involved in a lot of things, and we just let the people know. We're not going to let this no longer be a secret, Mr. Davis.
Well, I have a background, born and raised here in Kansas City, Missouri. As you say, MC, we both attended RT Cole's junior high school as well as Alvin Brooks. But with that being said, I'm very interested in the closing of Central High School. That's my alma mater. I had an opportunity to attend there 1954, and attending that school in 1954, going from, had never gone to school with the white concern, attending the school in 1954, right after the integration law coming out of to make brown persons Topeka. We left RT Cole's and went there, and there were 2,600 kids there, MC, and we didn't know what to do. We were young black kids, and we had to adjust. We didn't have any, as you would say, Caucasian teachers for the next 4 years. And
so let's bring our, Mr. Davis, let's bring our listeners up to date. We were then Negroes, okay? Then we were colored. And we changed, we keep changing. Now come on back and bring us up to date to let people know that, what could we say, once we were Negroes or once we were colored, we became African Americans. That's what we are now. So this kind of brings us up to date after I threw that little in there.
Well, the thing is, we were called different things, identity, etc., and we had to live with that over the years. It was all about segregation and trying to identify us as a race, as a people, and so we tolerated a lot of different names, etc. We won't go back to all the names that they called us and things that we referred to. But we got along, MC, as you know, as well as Al Brooks there. And so we're from a time that we had to make certain adjustments throughout the city, far as, we can identify what we had to go through with a Fairland Park at 75th and Prospect.
Mr. Davis, this is our folks, okay? Mr. Brooks is not with us today. Okay, so you mentioned Mr. Brooks. He's not with us on the show today.
You sound just like Al, I can tell you that.
Okay. Well, no, he's not with us today. So my name is Al Brooks. I'm in St. Louis.
Oh, okay. Boy, you sound just like Al Brooks from Kansas City. I can tell you that. Your voice, yeah.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment. I know him, so he's a very good, hell of a man.
Yes, he's a good person, but I really, I thought that's who I was speaking with. That's why I keep referring to Al Brooks.
Okay, no problem. I do compare to.
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, I mean, compared to him, that's a compliment.
Well, every doggone. Yes, and so with that being said, and now I know who I'm speaking with, it's just a situation where we've had to make several adjustments down through the years, and we've been able to not only tolerate it, but we've been able to succeed as a people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're talking about two cities where they used to fight. We had R.T. Coles and Jeeps. Then we had the Sumner up in St. Louis, or Vagina up in St. Louis, and they used to have those kind of wars, basically more in football than basketball. But on the same token, we all seem to get along. We know that going to St. Louis or going over in Kansas to Kansas, where they had a Sumner here, that we didn't used to travel to other small cities like Oklahoma City, Muskogee, and whatever, and well, people just try to get along, and we're right there getting our education. And at R.T. Coles, it was a trade school. So, Lyles, do you remember some of the trades that was offered at R.T. Coles?
Yes, you had carpentry, which would work. We had metal work. We had cooking, sewing and homemaking for the girls. We had masonry there at R.T. Coles, Kansas City, Missouri, and that's what we did.
Well, you also had tailoring, and you had shoe repair too.
Without a doubt. And so, for the time, I believe that that was a good thing, because everyone is not necessarily, for his education is concerned, and we know now that education is sum total of what you know. So with that being said, that is something that has been removed. Those subjects, those disciplines have been removed from schools throughout the country. And it's not true that everybody can go to college. It's not true.
Well, R.T. Go ahead, Miss Davis. I was going to say R.T. Coles prepared us for life, and once we want you to tell the people how you got involved into your profession.
Well, I was always interested in learning, and so I just knew that there was a teacher at R.T. Coles that inspired me. Once I didn't want to participate. Her name was Myla Banks. And early in my life, she was going to have a play. And she wanted me to play a significant role in this play. I was in 8th grade, R.T. Coles. And I told Miss Myla Banks that she wanted me to play, I believe the part was a judge. And I told her I just didn't want to do it. And she told me, oh, yes, you are. You're going to do this. And so that I didn't want to do it, but she just basically made me do that. And so little did I know that 25 years later from that time, I became a school teacher. And I went on to teach in the Kansas City, Missouri School District, and taught at Penn Valley here in Kansas City for over 25 years. And so hopefully, as I look back at it, that was really my inspiration, because she basically made me learn. And you remember Myla Banks, Coach Banks? You know?
Oh, yes.
And, yes, and so she had me into that idea. Then when I went to Central High School, I was in ROTC out there. And I remember Sergeant Smith had me be a teacher, if you will, an instructor in ROTC. And so he said, I see that in you, and I'm going to make you. And I said, oh. So otherwise, that, if you ask me, my early beginnings came from Central High School and R.T. Coles. that the teachers are the ones that inspired me to become a teacher, etc. As years passed, interest rates were high. I tried to be in the business, in the real estate business. I went to school, became a real estate broker and appraiser. And after that part, I was able to be in real estate for the next 50 years. So that's been my background, school teaching and real estate. And so it all came about as a result of school teachers having that confidence in me to do what I've done for 90% of my life.
Well, you also went to Central to the integration back after 54, but Central High School was so outstanding. People like Casey Stengel, people like Walt Disney, and still up at D.A. Holmes School, they have a painting inside that school where he went there. He was originally born in Marceline, Missouri, but Central has so much of, you're talking about a historical deal. It's just like, then they rebuilt Central, and now tell the people who don't know or should get involved, what are they trying to do now with Central High School?
Because of the enrollment right now, I mentioned earlier in our conversation that in 1954 there were 2,600 kids there, and today there's somewhere between 450 and 500. So with the enrollment, Kansas Missouri School District is concerning, it has a concern, and considering, I should say, closing Central High School. The public and the neighborhoods around Central High School they're very concerned about that, and so they're trying to close it because of enrollment in several schools here in Kansas City, Missouri. And so, with that being said, they're going to have various school board meetings and talk shows, etc., trying to get input from the people here in Kansas City as to what they're going to do. And so that's what's going on right now. Otherwise, the communities, various communities are fighting that idea of closing Central High School, which was, at the time it was built, was the most expensive high school built in the United States, somewhere between 32 million and 33 million. And it's a modern school with a lot of amenities, etc. And so right now, that's what's going on. They're trying to close it because of lack of enrollment, and that is ongoing at the present time, by the way.
Well, also at Central, they had the Olympic-style swimming pool, which a lot of students from throughout the country, now let's say the metro area, would come there to swim. They also have fencing. They became a computer school, and one time they were known for football and basketball.
There's no doubt about it, no doubt about it. And of course, with that being said, that's another reason that they're getting such kickback from the community as to the heritage that in fact, my graduating class won the state championship city championship in football. That'd be 1958. And so, with that being said, there is a lot of heritage, a lot of what would you say, success that was done or made by the Central High School as we know it today. Yes. And so that's one thing's going on in the city that people are really opposed to. It's going to come down to the school board and see if we can't do something. If we can't keep it open, we try to maintain it in some regard or in some fashion.
Well, you know, D.A. Holmes was a school, and now it's a senior citizen complex. And some people talk about Central even closing down Central and keeping Southeast School open, because that's in, we'll say, the inner city or the black community.
Well, MC, they're both located in the black community. It's just that as far as, I don't say common sense aspect of what we're talking about, it's an old building. And so when you get into old structures, you have a lot of more upkeep, if that's the case. And so with Central High School only being 25 years old, it would make more sense to bus those kids to Central High School, and that's one of the major objections relative to what they're trying to do with Central High School. Yes, and so it's a fight, though.
Well, we got the person that you gave the name of the guy from Lyles via Arkansas, Al Brooks, which is a good friend up in St. Louis. Do you have such incidents occurring in St. Louis, Mr. Fowlkes?
Yes, and I was listening to the conversation, okay, and I think one of the sports you guys got out about Central High School was y'all had a lot of great track teams that were both come down to Columbia, Missouri for they were state champions in a lot of cases. And so, so I can remember those days when I was in high school myself, later on in the late 60s. But having said that, we have had some similar situations taking place here in St. Louis, whereas that with the population shift, as you know, Mr. Davis, from the city to the county, a lot of black families have migrated to the county also, leaving some nice schools that have been recently rehabbed in St. Louis to be closed, demolished, or in some cases, what they do here, they turn them into apartments. That's been the case in like South St. Louis, a lot of that. But on the north side, we have tried to convert some schools into different uses. Like one was Beaumont, one was Solan, where I went to, the international school, and the SU and thriving and doing very well. And Sumner was the last one there was a big fight about. Sumner High School, which one you mentioned early on, and their transition right now, they're another program they're going to be offering at Sumner High School, and it's also going to bring some business into the community, to the school also. And also, you mentioned Vashon High School. Vashon High School seems to be doing very well. They were modernized some years ago. One of my grandsons graduated a couple of years ago. Was a football player there, but they have that school is situated in a private area there. The community is still supporting it. And they're doing quite well. So, but yes, we have had some similar problems. But we weren't happy with at the time when it was one, but it was something that Davis would tell you that the real estate market kind of dictates a lot of stuff how schools close or stay open. Am I right, Mr. Davis?
That's true. That is very true, but I was hoping you wouldn't mention Vashon. Vashon used to whoop us so bad in school, but I didn't want to mention. But anyway, so Vashon, and down through the years, historically, they've had outstanding basketball players down there in Vashon. I mean, we're going back now 50, 60 years. All right, I'm going to go right back with you on Vashon. And they used to just kill us in basketball. I think you probably know that. I don't know about the other.
Yeah, well, Vashon dominated the St. Louis market for a while also, so did Sumner. There's some guys coming in that turned pro, but Vashon was noted for their basketball in this area, and so was noted for their football teams. And I think Beaumont was noted for their track teams, and I think Sumner was someplace in between there.
Yeah, they were, but Vashon is very good in basketball, and no one wanted to play them because it seemed like every year they would come up with an outstanding basketball player. I mean, this is down through the years. I'm not talking about a couple of years. We're talking about a lot of years.
Yes.
And so you do have that. You being from St. Louis, are you from St. Louis? Okay. And so
I came to know someone down south from Mississippi, and I was freshman in high school. It was back 1965. That's when I went into Sohan High School in my the second part of my freshman high school year.
right. Well,
And I was involved in football, track, basketball, and so not so much basketball, but more that football and track was the sports I concentrated on more so. And we had a pretty good track team, and won some championships, here locally. But I do recall that again, high school had one of the best track teams in the country, bar none, for a number of years.
well, like you're saying, I agree with you, and it has a lot of history when it comes to sports down there. Yes, and so I've had an opportunity to be down there in those times and being able to play myself, mostly baseball, but that's neither here nor there. But the two cities are in competition to itself, but hey, we've survived.
Yes, sir. Well, let me ask you this question, okay? You asked me the question about our school closing, and so the school board was trying to close, about 10 schools at the same time. And so what the community did was in a little uproar and kind of backed up the school board meetings, but they kind of backed off the master plan and went back and tried to, figure schools out, one by one, and some schools survived and some schools didn't, but again, that's because those inner city schools just didn't have the students anymore. It was, matter of fact, the desegregation busted all the students out of the black community to the white schools, and the dollars that we had just dedicated normally to the black schools went to the schools in the county, and they all were rehabbed.
There you go.
Rebuilt. And so the city didn't get rehabbed at all.
Right, and so when you have integration, there's a tendency in cities, large cities, for Negroes to have the opportunity to move out of certain areas, and so there's not a depletion, but there's a lowering of the population, school population, because they're just not there. They're everywhere. In your case, out there, they're in Kirkwood and various towns around St. Louis, you see. Where back in my time, didn't have opportunity to live in, can't think of a little town, right? This little area, what's it called?
Western Grove was out.
Yeah, and it's a street off a park over there, and houses running $1 million over there. But we didn't have that opportunity.
Park Avenue.
Yes, Park Avenue. I know that's where it's located, but I can't think of the name of the subdivision now. So with that being said, so Negroes now are able to move from inner city St. Louis down there around Martin Luther King Boulevard and over there around your big hospital over there. And one of the hospitals just between 40 Highway and I-70.
Well, that's to say, right now, the hospitals in St. Louis, one there was a lot of fight about was the Homer G. Phillips, okay? So there was a big fight concerning them. But right now, the biggest hospital in the area is BJC. Better going, Barnes Hospital in Georgia. They combined.
Well, that's what I remember. It has gone to just a couple blocks from 40 Highway.
Right on Highway 40 there. And matter of fact,
that's right. You can see the hospital from there. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that hospital. Yeah, so that hospital, one of the biggest ones in St. Louis, but they work with Western University in their medical system. They go for a program for these doctors and for their nurses, which helped them be kind of somewhat successful. And then in the case of St. University, they're working right now, and been working right now with SSM, with DeBow, St. University Hospital down there. And so that program is now thriving, because a lot of things, I don't know about Kansas City, a lot of medical groups can kind of combine the hospital systems here. And so we have, so that's kind of been the case. But a lot of the hospitals are just working together now. And we had some hospitals that did close on the Highway 40. Deaconess Hospital was over there on Highway 40. They ended up closing it, and they're down now. Now that's part of the St. Louis Zoo.
Yes, yes. And that is one thing you got going with St. Louis is a tremendous zoo over there, down there.
Yeah, but one of the best in the country.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Been there several times. But just overall, it's because Negroes now have a, what would you call it, opportunity. That's what it is. And so you can go all the way to politics, quarterbacks in football, doesn't matter. But we've had more of an opportunity. We've been behind so much. We've been in slavery, etc. Come up to the name with education, and that's a reason why we've been able to, you would say, do better or have upward mobility in different areas, you see, and be more competitive with the white person, because if you really just tell it like it is, there was a time that we couldn't stay downtown St. Louis. Couldn't stay. Jackie Robinson himself couldn't stay. And I was fortunate to be able to see him play football. And
baseball.
No, I had an opportunity to see him at UCLA. And my father would take me to St. Louis when he became a Dodger.
Okay.
I saw him at the college level, and I also saw him at professional level. Wow. And so I remember that I don't know, from that area, they had a little Washington hotel there in St. Louis that we had to stay there. Of course, I was just a kid. I was 14. In fact, he took me there when I was 14 and 15. But my point is, man, that was the most shabby hotel we had to stay in. But he loved the Dodgers.
As Mr. Davis, if you recall, that was one of the major problems that a lot of these professional athletes in those days, especially Mr. Robinson and other guys, was one of the things they kind of picketed. Because a lot of the football and the basketball, football players of their time, they were accepted, but are not accepted in real life because they couldn't eat in the same restaurants in some cases.
That's what I'm saying, opportunity. Yeah.
And if you just tune in, you listen to a special broadcast from Mr. Lyles Davis and the sounding like Alvin Brooks and our folks. And I don't know if we have Lyles Davis. He didn't know we were going to try to get him in here because we're going to play this. Okay. Because we're going to play this show again next week. And because our person who's our engineer, he's going to be St. Nick's for probably a month or so. So we're going to have some rebroadcasts in your language, but we just want to get this word out. Also, about the United Minority Media Association, their Yuma component is going to host the Midwest Southeast Regional Conference in Kansas City on December 3rd at the Brush Creek Community Center. That's 3801 Emmanuel Cleaver 2nd Boulevard. But also, I'm blessed to say that's the time I will make it to the big number 83. And they're going to do a lot of things, they say, and I hope that they get enough donation for me to miss that 83. I'm talking about $1,000, really. But anyway, we wanted Mr. Lyles Davis. He's a graduate of the class of 58, which we have Lincoln, my pride and joy. We got Westport. We got Emmanuel. And prior to that, we had De La Salle. But we just a school, and I want the people to know out there again that Kansas City is the largest city in Missouri. We got St. Louis, we got Springfield, we got St. Joe, but I want y'all to be cognizant of that, and may we continue with this good program.
Well, Mr. Richard, one of the things I'm somewhat very happy about that this past election that we just had after redistricting, that your Congressman, Reverend Cleaver, was reelected in Kansas City. And I'm proud to say that he was. And also here in St. Louis, our Congressman, Ms. Corey Bush, was also reelected So saying Missouri still has two blacks in our legislature, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, I just love that lady. She's so outspoken and straightforward,
Yes.
and she's for the people.
Oh no. She's one of those persons. If you meet her, she's kind of a little short dynamo. Okay.
She doesn't bite her tongue. I tell you that.
You see what now?
She doesn't bite her tongue.
Oh no. She doesn't do that. Okay. And then the other part about it, she don't back down. Also, that's another thing. Matter of fact, I think her first term in Congress, that I want to use the word effect change. She did affect some change in the Congress, on several issues that was close to her. The one was, the homelessness and the housing and stuff like that, which is something that's very much, not just in Missouri, but around the country, that a lot of people are having problems, with housing and stuff like that.
Right. But she's definitely for the people, and I just think that's so important when you're elected to those type of positions, and you're elected because you need to serve the people, and that's what the United States is going through right now with a bunch of, and you know what. So, to be clear.
Mr. Dave, let me ask you a question, okay? Being an educator, I'm very proud, this past election, that the young people get out and vote, in droves for the first time. And I think they contributed to the difference in the elections that we just had. That the young people came out, and voted, were very active in their campaigns, and they want to be involved in what's going on in their community.
Well, what happened is they are different. I agree with you wholeheartedly, because they're the one that stopped what the Republicans were talking about for as a red wave. It didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so normally when you have a midterm, as you well know, the I don't call it incoming, but the outgoing, whichever.
The incoming president. Well, not only that, the president, his party normally loses in the midterm elections.
Exactly right, and it just didn't happen this time, which is very unusual.
It was rare.
Because of those young people that you're referring to, that's where you're right.
Well, not only the young people, but also another issue that I had told people about, and a lot of people argue with me about, that the women came out and drove, because that abortion issue was something that, we all got women in our lives, and one thing that, in the polling, they didn't actually tell the posters how they were going to vote, but women didn't forget about what the Supreme Court did, about that abortion, and they came out and showed their displeasure also. That combination, I think, made the difference in this last election.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's no doubt about it, because women's rights is just as important, and it's more so than sometimes about abortion. It could be about a health issue. It could be a life and death. But what they did, they just said it's not allowed. And so when you have that, telling a person that's something that's maybe very, I would say, common to their life, meaning that I can just tell you, you don't need to do this. Well, what happened is, and there are people around the United States, and I agree, that it was just an issue that us men should never get involved with it at all in the first place. So that's just tell it like it is. And so I couldn't tell, women what they're supposed to do with their bodies. And so with that being said, women came out in droves, and that made a difference too in that outcome as preventing a red wave. It's true. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at right now. And the main thing is for us to know the importance of voting and to get out there and vote, because we're not headed in the right direction with the big lie. That's tell it like it is.
I was very impressed, that this whole election, there was not a lot of dissension, there was one lady that was, I'm not racist, she's been called already, Miss Lake out in Arizona. She's running for the governor of Arizona, but she was the only person that I know, other than one other guy, that was questioning the election, the poll workers. He was election, the last election we had, like this election, was probably one of the cleanest elections we had in our entire history. There was, and also I'm impressed. Davis, we agree also on this, that for all of the 40-some states that tried to change, the voting patterns, with making it hard for people to vote, people still got out and voted in droves also in the black community also.
Well, they use their common sense. And that lady you're talking about out there, she was just flat out saying that she wasn't going to accept the outcome. That's before the even vote was even made. Now that's what.
Right.
And just like I was listening to Obama, it's one thing for you to be a radio or television personality, and she was for over 22 years. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Donald Trump was a television celebrity, and you see what happens. And so people have to stay in their lane in order to be successful, because they will get into something, get into some profession, or get promoted rank-wise, or get elected to a position. But if they can't do that job, otherwise you have to know what you're doing in any profession. And if you don't, you can just mess this whole ball game up. And then fascism, all that comes in to play when you get someone in a position that does not know what they're doing. And so the lady you referred to out there has no clue. She knows radio and television, but she doesn't know, really, she really does. She's out of place. And so with that being said, it's real dangerous.
Well, myself, I'm being familiar, okay, both with television and radio, but I would tell you, in television, you'd be surprised how many times they have to edit the program before it gets on the air.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean, before you see something, the only live program you normally see is something like the news, where it's actually live. But most TV programs, they take a break, they set time out. And then they go into the cutting room there, the editing room, I would say, and make all the changes. And so when they come on TV, as a matter of fact, you can watch the Stephen Colbert show a lot of nights, and he would actually curse, okay, but by the time the show is taped in advance, it's already, the cursing been already been edited out the program, before we see it. And so that's how, live TV is not really live TV even then.
But you just think it is.
Right.
When you're watching, you believe that. Yeah, but I see what you're saying. It's edited out. That's why you can't say some things, and you don't hear really what they said, you see. Mm-hmm. And so they take it out, is what you're saying, yeah.
Like I say, you kind of speak off the top of your head, okay, then it's, well, cut, okay? You got to do that all over again. Okay? Well, that's in television. I know that we have a show on the network, a rhythm TV show. It takes them, it's an hour program, but it takes them normally a whole, at least 4 or 5 days a week of work, okay, to be active, to shoot the whole show, then edit the show, and put it on television.
Well, that's interesting what you're talking about. But like I said, that's not in my purview. That's not my profession, but you can always learn something. All you got to do is listen, except for somebody to know what they're talking about. You know what you're talking about. But the thing is,
well, that's it, okay. The people you mentioned, former President Donald Trump, on the fitness program, before you saw that program, they had it took them a whole week to go back and forth and decide to get the right perfect shots that they wanted. They on television.
That's really interesting. That's interesting. Very interesting. You think you're live, but you're not.
Well, no. All the TV programs you see in the evening time and prime time, now you may have some live game shows, most of the shows, in fact, a lot of the shows, some shows that you have, they are tape them in advance on game shows, and they tell a person not to tell nobody, the results. I'm serious, okay? And until the time for the show to be played.
How about that? That's interesting. That is really interesting. And so,
What I was saying though, this past election showed a lot of integrity in our system, that democracy is alive and well, and getting better.
well, it's going to have to, because the way we had it, it's going to be a whole lot worse. But sometimes you make you wonder, how could it get any worse? But it was headed in that direction. But the people,
I would agree. I would agree. Okay, and I think that again, a lot of our young people, see things a little different than us older people did. And I do a show of myself, at 1 o'clock back here in St. Louis. I had a couple of guests on, one from D.C. And one gentleman used to be the head of the United States Human Commerce. Another gentleman is the CEO of the United States Human Commerce. And to hear their discussions, okay, on a national level about how our country is changing. And the one thing that Mr. Chuck DeBow, by the way, Mr. Davis, I'm the head of the Missouri Human Commerce also in Missouri. Yes. And so we are affiliated of the National Human Commerce. So our CEO was saying that after these elections now, that a lot of the corporations, a lot of the businesses now, they're calling our chamber there in D.C., want to get our thoughts, okay, and before that demo took place, that their business, they would reach out to us, okay, and want us to be involved in the equation. I think the more that's done, the better we would be as a country.
there's no doubt about it. Just that you just have to put it out there. I mean, for it to be, I guess, the information to be uncovered as to what you're talking about, so people can really see which direction we're going and know the importance of the whole direction that we're going. Otherwise, sometimes if you're ignorant of the fact, or you just don't know, a person can only do really what they know. They can't do things. They can't do anything else, So, and with you in your profession, somewhere you had a lot of training and experience, you see. So you're not going over there and flash a rocket ship. I don't know. You may be able to, but you have to stay in your lane. That's all I'm saying.
Mr. Davis, there's another thing that you see, if you don't mind me bringing this up, okay? One of the social media, you read a lot about Twitter, which it became a part of social media a part of social media where corporations are making money, and it was recently bought out by Mr. Elon Musk, who was the richest man in the world for $44 billion. That's a lot of money. And he came into owning the company, and the first thing he did was that clean house, which you can't do that in most times. You buy stuff, you can't clear a house. But the difference, in our opinion, is that what he's done, the guy that actually created Twitter, okay, is from the St. Louis community, Mr. Dorsey. And he created Twitter around a somewhat like a Midwestern attitude, how he worked with his people. And that's not the way Mr. Elon Musk looked at it. So I think right now Twitter is, you get a lot of news about it. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but it's a lot of things about it in the news, how Twitter's going to survive or not survive.
Well, what you're talking about is a person's attitude. You see, attitude is the answer. It can either be the lock of the key to the door of success. So the guy that you're referring to came in my way or the highway. It may be that, remember I talk about a person that has to stay in their lane? It may be with all of that money, he still can be in another lane where he really doesn't know how to handle it. I don't know. I know that he was the richest man. I know he bought it, came in firing a whole bunch of people. But it may be that he's in the wrong field for as I know. I don't know. I really don't. But I know that he's doing some crazy things.
Well, me not being a Twitter user, but I do know a lot of people who rely on Twitter, for a lot of stuff. Okay, I mean, millions and millions of people. And also, I was watching a program today, and they were saying the NAACP was saying that a lot of hate was coming through Twitter, which became a big microphone for a lot of people. And I think that's about to go away. So that's going to be a lot of changes how we do business in this country, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you have money, money is a determinant. And so if he had all this money, and I think his idea was to get Trump back on there. Well, you get him back on there, and here comes, and you mentioned Fox News, I believe, maybe not, but you mentioned the media spreading false information. And so I understand, and I don't know whether it was just someone saying that or whether it was hearsay or not. He wants Donald Trump back on there to come back and just talk about anything. Something he don't even know what he's talking about. Well, that's dangerous from the standpoint, just like you said, if it has 1 million listeners, then that's going to influence people because they said Donald Trump said it, and so take bleach for the COVID, right?
Right.
That's right. So when you're in leadership, in any type of leadership, where you listen to a pastor, if a pastor at a church tells you the first book of the Bible is Isaiah, you'll leave there if you didn't know, and you'll say, you can go and tell somebody the first book of the Bible is Isaiah. So if Donald Trump gets on there and says, and that's where we are right now. So what you're saying is we've got all these listeners by way of social media. That's dangerous because there's somebody going to be listening and say, that must be right. Well, we say, where'd you get it from? We got it off television, or I heard it over here. And so a person really needs to be cognizant, I would think, of listening to something, and then don't necessarily take it for granted. Just go and try to find out whether or not it's true or not. And so it can just mess up. That's where we are right now, messed up because of social media and false information. Bottom line.
Well, that's how Donald Trump, they know he was lying, but it didn't matter. But that kind of leads us to the theme of December 3rd in Kansas City, and that's going to be the United Minority Media Association event that's going to take place in Kansas City. We want to reach out all over the country. We're talking about the Midwest Southeast region, but we'll have workshops. We're talking about workshops that are top-notch workshops, even about educational institutions, and trying to encourage more minorities to do better and get into education. We're also talking about an incident that happened in Arkansas, Ketcher, Arkansas, about the law and all the racism which has happened throughout the United States. And the other thing, a lot of people are just now getting cognizant of 1619 project, and we'll have a workshop on that. And a lot of people, do you two know what the concept behind the 1619 project?
Well, I know about OKMC, but I'm happy to say that you included. But first thing I'd like to say, I'd like to compliment you and the United Minority Media Association for what you guys have done since your inception almost 50 years ago, where you have played a part in bringing a lot of professional people into in the media around the country and around the world that came to the United Minority Media Association. The workshops that you had for young people, that they gave them a chance to see what media was all about and got involved in it. You know, one is made on Fox News on Fox TV right now. She kind of came from Kansas City, through the United Minority Media Association. There's some other people, but I'm proud to say that you had a workshop on the 1619 project on the Ketcher, Arkansas. But those are all the things that a lot of people found a lot of stuff that started through the United Minority Media Association. Just talking amongst people. I mean, I think that your conference that you put together, which would be on your birthday before you say it, would be something again for people to get a lot of information about what's going on in their community and in the world.
Well, that's true. We're also going to recognize what we call the civic prestigious people that'll be part of that. Also, we got to have the people that's going to be there on time well spent, not only from the people that are from Arkansas. We have some at-large people, but we also, one of our time well spent recipients will be Carter Broadcast, which is the first black-owned station west of the Mississippi, and it's the oldest station in the nation. So we're going to have Mike Carter, and we're going to have the Seal Media.
It's the oldest black station black-owned station.
Right, black on right, exactly.
I
And
hate
we're
this.
going to have Cumulus, and they're going to have their vans there to attract more people to get that word out, because a lot of time we just don't know. But a lot of time we know radio, people listen to radio, but then they can look at a couple of minutes on TV and they believe that's always the truth. So we need more people to get involved, such as the shows that you host up in St. Louis. Reiterate the name of the shows and what time they come on, Mr. Fowlkes.
Yeah, our program is called Lunch with the Missouri Human Commerce, and we've been on the air since 2015. And also, I have to sing praises to the Ferguson USA HotTarget.com, base for all of our shows here that came out of the Michael Brown uprising in St. Louis County. That it's been a vehicle for a lot of our people that came through our station and gone on to other things already in the community also. But I think but we communicate with our radio shows. MC, we give people more than a sound bite about something. We get we just kind of discuss things like today about the school closing in Kansas City. We have had a thorough discussion from different angles and different perspectives about how that's going to affect our community. And I think bringing Mr. Davis can input in as a alumni there, as well as being a real estate man, he understands the migration of the community and the lack of students actually playing into the why the closing may take place.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You hit the nail on the head, but I know that what MC is doing there on the 3rd, and I plan to be there wholeheartedly to support him and just recognize what the influence and his contribution to the media. And so it's a great thing, but with the information that will be displayed, told, disseminated that particular day, is going to be great for the area and anybody else that can attend. And with that being said, I just want to pat him on the back for what he's been doing down through the years.
Folks, I hate to say this, but it's 5:57.
I mean, we got 3 minutes left. That's Scott Owens, our general manager, and also our own other station. We thank him also for seeing that he's done for us. By the way, I also have to compliment you again for the time that you have taken. As you said, this is your other wife, okay? To make sure that the humor has not died away, and you kept get the word out there, and it's continued to grow thanks to you.
But no doubt about it, and to know the importance of what he's been doing over the years, and I think not only he's supposed to be complimented, but he needs to be supported in any way that he can. And with that being said, I know that on December 3rd he'll be happy, and people that will attend will be more knowledgeable when they leave there. And so with that being said, congratulations, MC, on what you've been involved with over these years. And you do.
Well, I hope that your checks in the mail. I hope your check will be in the mail too. But on the same token, this kind of closes out both our and Mr. Lyles Davis on if you want to be reached, how people can reach you, and how they can get involved.
Well, you can reach me at Lyles Davis at att.net. My phone number is area code 816-399-9082.
And my name is Al, head of Missouri Human Commerce. You can call me through MC, or you can go online. What's that? Our website, Folks at yahoo.com. Also, IRAFOWLKS at yahoo.com.
And Mr. Scott Owen, tell us about your segment upcoming this next month.
You can visit me at the Galleria in St. Louis. Just be prepared to sit on my lap.
This show will be repeated next week when we have some other shows. If somebody, I would tell the folks, if they want to catch any of the Guess Who Coming to Kansas City, how should they do that?
MC, you can give me a call on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and also it's a podcast on Spotify. Now, anywhere there's a podcast, just all you put in is Guess Who's Coming to Kansas City, and you will pop up just like that.
And you can retrieve the shows we've been doing for last year. On
You can go all the way back. You can all of our shows, MC, that you ever done before that decision can be retrieved through FrequencyUSAHotTalkRadio.com, or you can go to Spotify, which is the biggest podcast anchor out there, that you can find Guess Who's Coming to Kansas City, and they will get you live and
okay, Mr. Scott Owen, not for people that take it the wrong way, but ho, ho, ho. Thank you very much, and you can listen to rebroadcast up to the first of the year. Then we'll start out with a program that we always say that the next year is going to be the best year coming. We do know that Kansas City will host the NFL drafts here in Kansas City in 2023.
And you're saying, don't you forget it. Life is good. Have a beautiful weekend. And then have this year. Life is good. My name is Richardson. Scott Richardson. Davis. Our guest, thank you all for joining us on Guess Who's Coming to Kansas City out of Kansas City, Missouri. Northern City and City, Missouri. Life is good.